All right. Looks like the recording has started. Welcome, everyone. All right. Whenever you're ready, Jen.
Okay. All right. Well, good evening and a big welcome to California High School's class of 2029. My name is Jen Beavers. I'm one of the counselors here at Cal High School, and tonight I'm joined by Cheryl Youngberg, another one of our school counselors, Erin Hill, also on our counseling team, and Becky Bellini, who's going to be behind the scenes doing the question and answer, kind of facilitating that. So welcome, everyone. We're so happy that you are joining us tonight and what we think will be a very informative session with you. So as we get started, and kind of just to back up, we are recording this presentation and we will be posting it to our counseling website. So just know that this will be available to you if you want to refer back to anything that we've talked about tonight. Just some general housekeeping notes. The chat feature for the presentation is off. The question and answer feature is on. However, we do ask that you hold your questions until the end, just because we anticipate that we will most likely answer a lot of the questions you have throughout our presentation. And so, we just want you to be kind of listening for, we know that you probably do have a lot of questions. And so we just want you to be listening for the information as we present it. We are looking for general questions as opposed to questions that are very specific to you or your student. If you do have those very specific questions, we encourage your student to bring those questions with them to the Cal counseling meeting that we will be having with our middle school students next week. And then just as a side note, for those of you that might be joining us via a mobile device, I don't believe that the question and answer feature is available on that on those devices. So just as an FYI. All right, so here is our agenda. It's a pretty packed agenda for this evening. I'm going to introduce you to our counseling team, go over Cal High's bell schedule, give you an idea of the difference between graduation requirements versus excuse me, A through G requirements. Talk about Cal High course registration, what non-district courses, all of that is about, and advancement. We know there's a lot of questions around that, so we will tackle that topic. We're going to talk about Cal High athletics. I'm going to give some student and parent tips. Talk about the open house that we're super excited about for tomorrow night, and then answer some of the questions that you may have after our presentation. So this is your Cal High counseling team. The students are assigned to their counselor by their last names. And so you can see over here on the left, we have 7 counselors plus a support counselor, Miss Nowak. She is our support counselor, helps support students with social emotional needs. But we are, this is our alphabet breakdown for this year. Sometimes there's a slight shift in the alpha assignments just based on enrollment or staff changes. So we do encourage you to check our website, the counseling website, at the start of each year to see who your counselor, who your student is assigned to as far as counselors. They don't shift too much, but just on the off chance that they do. I'm sorry. We also have a wonderful support staff on our counseling team. Ms. Picotti is our counseling secretary.
Miss V is the counselor tech, and Miss Batu is our registrar, and they also work hard to support our students in our counseling department. The counseling team offers a variety of services, including academic guidance, personal support, and resources. We are, currently in the throes of course planning for next year, but throughout the year, we work with kids on career planning, college planning. We are always there to support our students if they're dealing with, academic stress or personal stress, having overwhelming feelings, friendship issues, problems at home. And then we also have school-based resources and outside resources that we can share with students and families. So we really have a wide array of services that we offer our kids. We have a wonderful wellness center that we encourage you to stop by tomorrow night to check out. It is Miss Goldenberg oversees and coordinates the wellness center, and Miss Rebels is our intake person, and together they run just a really quiet and they call it the Zen Den place for kids to just take a reset break if they need it. They just need some quiet time to themselves. They can come to the wellness center and get that. The wellness center oftentimes also will bring in therapy dogs. We've had llamas come in. So they also offer some really fun activities and whatnot for kids to engage in throughout the year. Miss Nichols is our college and career advisor, and she is a wealth of information. We are so fortunate to have Miss Nichols on our team. She is somebody that kids can bring their questions to with regards to college or careers they might be interested in. And she is somebody that if she doesn't know the answer immediately to a student's question, she will go down a rabbit hole to find out the information for them. And so Kathy is really, just like I said, a wealth of information around career exploration. She really has a lot of ties to our community, and so she gets a lot of the job opportunities that are out there in the local community. She's really well versed with financial aid information, the college entrance exams. She posts scholarships. She's the one that coordinates the college visits. So she's just in the thick of it all the time in our college and career center. And so she is somebody that your student, that she would be a great resource for your student to get to know. Looking at our bell schedule, the Cal High is on a full-time block schedule. And so the kids are either in periods 1, 3, and 5 or 2, 4, and 6. And what's nice about Cal High's schedule is that after each class period, the kids have some type of break. So after their first period in student support, they have brunch. After third period, they have lunch, and then after fifth or sixth period, that's the end of their day. So you can see 6 periods is a full day for our students, which I know is different from the middle school where I believe the kids have 7. A 7-period day is considered a full-time schedule. In high school, it's a 6-period day. We're really fortunate to have a student support 4 out of the 5 days in the week. This is 30 minutes of time where students can get help. They have time to do their homework. They can get help from an academic tutor. They can go to a teacher's classroom where they may need help. They can it's a 30 minutes of dedicated time that the students can really choose what they need to get done and have that time to do it. On Wednesdays, we don't have access or student support, and students are released at 2:05, so that's an early release day. But all the other days, they have that 30 minutes built in. So one thing that it's, the kids are going to have to understand or learn rather as they enter into high school is what are the differences between the high school graduation requirements and the A through G. And it's really important to note what these differences are so that as the kids go through and are scheduling their classes that they know what pathway they want to take. So just kind of to start off, I want to just look at the graduation requirements, so that middle column. So to graduate from Cal High, students have to complete the coursework that's outlined in the middle column, and they have to earn a D- or higher in their classes. And I'll go over those in just a second, but that's what that middle column is. Over on the right-hand side are the A through G requirements, and those are a specific set of courses that students must complete with a grade of a C or higher in order to be eligible for admissions to the UC and CSU systems. So we put this chart together so that you can see the similarities, but also the differences between these two sets of requirements. The A through G simply refers to the letters being assigned to a specific subject area. So you can see A is social science, B is English, C is math, etc. All right. And then also to note that many out-of-state and private schools also follow very similar requirements as the A through G. So as long as students meet those requirements, they're pretty safe to bet that those will be the same requirements as out-of-state and private. So you can see with social science, to graduate from high school, a student needs 15 credits of world history, 10 of US history, 5 of government, and 5 of econ, whereas the A through G requires 1 year of world history and 1 year of US history. In English, they are the same. It's 40 credits for high school graduation. So students will take English all 4 years, and that is what the A through G requirement is as well. Math is a little different. For math, students have to have 10 credits of algebra and then 10 credits of general math, whereas the A through G, students have to complete algebra, geometry, and algebra 2, and then a 4th year of math is recommended. For science, it's 10 credits of life science, 10 credits of physical science. For the A through G, it's 1 year of life, 1 year physical, and then a 3rd year of science is recommended. This next section is what we call the breadth requirement. So for high school graduation purposes, a student must meet 2 out of the 3 of the following. So 10 credits of world language, 10 credits of fine art, 10 credits of applied art. So for example, a student could take 1 year of Spanish and 1 year of theater arts, and they would meet the graduation requirement. Or they could take 1 year of ceramics and 1 year of culinary, and that would meet that particular requirement. When you look over at the A through G, they are much more specific in terms of these areas. So students have to complete 2 levels or years of the same language and 1 year of a fine art. They do recommend the 3 years of the language, but 2 are required. And then elective credits, 50 elective credits, which are anything above and beyond the general requirements. For graduation purposes, students have to take 2 years or 20 credits of physical education and 1 semester of health, and those do not fall into the A through G requirements. Erin is going to go into a little bit more detail what this might look like more specifically with some of these subject areas, but this is just a nice visual to show you kind of the differences between the two. And this is something we go over with repeatedly with kids throughout their years at Cal High. So please know that we make sure to track all of this very carefully on their transcripts to make sure they are staying on track. Okay,
Hello,
and Erin, I think this is you.
Great. So I'm Erin Hill. I'm going to be discussing ninth grade classes. And just to reiterate what Ms. Beaver said, this is a lot of information. We know we're putting it, this is the first time a lot of you are hearing it. We do go over this every single year with presentations. We meet one-on-one with all of the students. We go over the students' transcripts, talk to them about classes every single year. So they're on track. So we know they're on track to get to a 4-year college or a 2-year college, whatever their goal is. So just know that we know this is a lot, but each year we go over that with the students and go over the A through Gs. Okay, so moving into ninth grade, we're mainly going to be focusing on just talking about the ninth grade year. We're not going to be diving in to the upper grades quite yet. So for ninth grade, it's pretty easy of a year to pick classes. There are 6 classes students are going to take listed on the screen here. So 4 of those classes are actually going to be pre-scheduled for you when you go on to do your registration, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But every student's going to be in an English class that's required for all 4 years. They get to choose between English 9 and English 9 Justice and Community, which is a social justice-based class. They're going to be in a ethnic studies and health class, and those are semester classes. So some of them will start with ethnic studies and then they'll move into their health class for second semesters, and vice versa. Some will start with health and move into ethnic studies for the second semester. Every student will be in a math class. Ninth graders are required to be in a PE 9 course, and then I'm going to talk about PE options a little bit later in the presentation. Ninth graders are scheduled to be in biology, which will fulfill their life science. And then the class they get to choose would be their world language course, or they can choose a fine art and applied art elective. Okay, so diving a little deeper into each requirement, Ms. Beavers just went over just the A through Gs versus the high school graduation. And we wanted to make it clear on each subject, kind of the differences between simply just graduating high school versus wanting to go to a 4-year college. So as she discussed earlier, the differences are just a little bit more to be qualified to go to a 4-year university. So for science, ninth graders will be pre-scheduled into biology. So when you log into your online registration, you will see that biology is already set for you. Keep in mind that we understand that some ninth graders might not be ready for biology. It is one of the more challenging courses ninth graders will take. And, we have had lots of ninth graders decide, I might delay this till 10th grade year. That is actually okay to do. We do have to make a change to your courses when we meet, to make sure you're in the, an elective that you want instead. But keep in mind, you have plenty of time to get your science done. If you don't feel ready for biology, you can take that as a 10th grader and then take chemistry as an 11th grader, and then have an additional year to take a 3rd year of science if you should choose to do so. So I would say the majority of ninth graders do take biology. So it is a mostly ninth grade level class, but there are quite a few 10th graders scattered in as well. So as for math, we know a lot of students are in different levels of math. It could range from, pre-algebra all the way up to pre-calculus. So what is going to happen when you register for classes is that it's going to have a Math 1. It's going to say Math 1 in your schedule. That is pre-scheduled for you. We actually get all of the math recommendations from your current math teacher. So keep in mind that you need to speak with your math teacher that you have right now in middle school, because they're going to give us a list of the courses that we need to put you in, depending on what you're in right now. So for example, if you're in a course 3 math class, you'll most likely be recommended for Algebra 1. If you're in Algebra 1, most likely geometry, and geometry to Algebra 2. So if you have questions about what class you might go in, you can certainly talk to your current math teacher. If you're earning around a C in the class, you'll most likely be recommended to move on to the next level. The C level is recommended, but you still could opt to repeat the course. So I know getting a C you might not be getting all the material or understanding. You certainly can choose to repeat Algebra 1 or whatever course you're in, but most likely you'll be recommended to move on to the next level. If you are struggling a bit right now in your math class and it's dipping in that D range, maybe lower, you probably will be recommended to repeat the course or start in one of our programs that we have, enriched math, which just moves at a slower pace. It's called Algebra 1 Enriched 1. And it's a great class for kids that might need a little more time, to understand concepts. And it's first semester Algebra 1 spread out in 1 year. And then their second year that you do A1, E2, which is Algebra 1 Enriched 2. And that course is Algebra 1 semester 2 spread out. So it really is a good course. If your math might not be your thing and you struggle a bit, you might need a little more instruction. So just reviewing the high school math requirements, like Ms. Beaver stated, you only need 2 years of math to graduate. So 1 year of algebra and 1 year of another math, whatever that math may be. We do like to set our kids on the 4-year track if possible, just so when they become seniors, they have options to apply, to 4-year colleges if they choose. Maybe they choose 2-year college, but we really want all of our students to have a lot of options when they're with their senior year. So we do like, to hopefully put most of our kids on that 4-year college track. And so they can get up to at least Algebra 2. That is the class you need to be able to apply to 4-year colleges. And then we do recommend 1 year above Algebra 2, if you plan on applying to 4-year colleges one day. Okay, so for world language, a lot of the talk out there is that 2 years of world language is required to graduate from high school. That's not necessarily the case. 2 years of language is required to go to a 4-year college. World language can be used to meet graduation requirements along with another elective. But if a student, is going through high school and they're pretty sure they're going to go to community college after high school, they might choose not to take a world language here at Cal High. So again, like I stated before, we do encourage our students to meet all their A through Gs, just so, when they're deciding what their next steps may be after high school, they have all the options possible for them. And like Ms. Beaver stated, 2 years of this language is required to go to a 4-year college, and 3 years is actually recommended. So if your student's doing really well, in their second year of language, we do encourage them to go on to that 3rd level if possible. So listed here on the screen, you'll see all of the different languages we offer: Spanish, French, Chinese, and Korean. So if you're currently in Spanish 1B or French 1B at your middle school, you will sign up for Spanish 2 or French 2. So as long as you're earning a C or better, you can certainly go on and sign up for that next level of the course, which would be French 2 or Spanish 2. For Chinese, we offer level 1 through AP. If you want to test into a higher level, there's contact information here, and these slides will be shared. So, you don't have to write it down if you want to access it later. You would contact Ms. Wang. And then for Korean, she also is offering placement tests. If you feel you might qualify for Korean 3 versus Korean 1 or 2, you can go ahead and take a placement test and reach out to the teacher. Her email is listed right there. And that's the same case for Spanish and French. They will be offering placement tests if you feel that, if you're a native speaker and you feel that you want to test into a higher level. Okay, so PE. PE 9 is a ninth grade course. So every 9th grader will be pre-scheduled for PE 9. It's a state requirement to fulfill physical education in the 9th grade year. There is one other option for 9th graders. It's called Independent Study PE. And this is a program offered for students that might be doing an outside sport. And you can read the criteria. It's mainly for gifted athletes who are participating in individual sports. So they don't qualify if they're in a team sport, which I totally understand if your kid, your kid's doing, travel baseball or softball or soccer, one of these sports that I know take a ton of time outside. Unfortunately, those don't qualify just because we offer those sports here at Cal. They can try out for a team, and earn athletic PE credits later. So if your student participates in a sport such as gymnastics, figure skating, dance, things like that, you can apply for independent study PE through the district application. I'm not sure if the application date is set quite yet, but all the information is on the San Ramon Unified School District website under Independent Study PE, if you think you might qualify for that. But all of the students will be enrolled in PE 9, and after that, after grade 9, PE can be, the second year of PE can be taken in grades 10, 11, or 12. So students can kind of plan out their next couple of years and decide, do I want to take my PE in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade? And if you look at the options, we do have a ton of fun PE classes here at Cal, everything from yoga to weightlifting to net sports, team sports, cardio fitness, sports conditioning, and strategies in rec PE. So we have a ton of really fun options that students can take in grades 10, 11, and 12. We do get a lot of questions about athletic PE. That is a program for student athletes who are in grades 10 through 12. So students who try out for Cal High and they make a junior varsity, so a JV or varsity team and they complete the season, the entire season, they can apply for athletic PE credits at the very end of the season. So they fill out a form, submit it, and they can earn 10 credits per athletic season. So really our athletes only need to fill it out one time and you have your 20 credits, 10 for 9th grade PE and 10 for athletic PE. Students cannot qualify in 9th. So we get that question a lot. Even if you've made a varsity team, JV, it doesn't qualify. You have to wait until 10th and 11th or 12th grade to apply for that. Okay, so talking about online course registration coming up here February 27th to March 3rd, that is the window for logging in, and we're going to be talking about that. We have a folder we're going to be passing out tomorrow with instructions, a course selection sheet, so you know what to do. But the registration period, which is an online window that's open on Infinite Campus from February 27th to March 3rd. Trying to look about that. Okay, back to course registration. The 9th grade courses are listed there. PE, we went over that is meeting. If you guys
Erin, is anyone, can everyone hear Erin okay? I think it was breaking up just a little bit. So let me just go for it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Here we go. Okay, sorry about that. Back to the courses. So we're going to give you a blue course selection sheet tomorrow at the open house. We're going to give you a folder. It's going to have information regarding registration, and then it's going to have a list of courses you can choose from, and a few other documents in there that's going to help. We're going to be coming to the middle schools on March 3rd, Pine Valley, and March 4th, Iron Horse. And we're going to be talking to students, answering questions, collecting the course selection sheets. So keep that in mind. I wanted to discuss the B period. So we've talked about 9th graders having 6 classes, which is the standard for joining in 9th grade. There is an optional B period course, and that's in the 7th period. So that course is offered in the afternoons every day but Wednesday. So it's from 2:40 to 3:41. And the 7th class is only offered for students who are in certain programs. So keep in mind that we don't have the space to accommodate, our whole entire campus to have a B period. So we really encourage 9th graders to come in and start with 6, get get used to Cal High, see how you're doing. We really want that first year to be successful. So sometimes taking on too much, isn't the best idea. But we do have that option for students that are in programs that might require them to have an extra class. For example, our performing arts program, so band, choir, theater, dance. We understand that a lot of students want to be in these programs for all 4 years, and you might not have room to accommodate that, plus your science, plus your world language. So we give you an option of taking a 7th class if you're in a performing art. The other classes that qualify you are freshman leadership, mock trial. That is a 1-semester course in the B period. So once that semester is done, you'll have 6 classes again. Publications is the yearbook. So they're always looking for kids to help with our awesome yearbook. And that's an application class. So we can give you the contact information for that if you're interested. Engineering and newspaper. So those are the only courses on campus that allow students to have a 7th class. But 7 classes aren't really needed or required in the 9th grade year. So this is just a visual of what the course selection sheet is going to look like when you get it tomorrow. As you can see, there aren't a ton of options on the 9th grade selection sheet. As you get to a 10th, 11th, and 12th, that sheet is so much longer. So this is what, you're going to be choosing from tomorrow when you're looking through your courses, deciding what to take. And as you can see, the fine arts, career tech electives, non-departmental, and the language options, and then the corresponding A through G on the side, so you know what that course is meeting. All right, so I briefly discussed this. We're going to be, counselors are coming to both sites on Monday and Tuesday of next week, Pine Valley on Monday, Iron Horse on Tuesday. We want to make sure that each student has logged in with their parents and decided on their courses. You actually have to print out that sheet. So on Infinite Campus, you're going to choose your courses and then print out the course selection, the summary sheet on Infinite Campus with a parent signature, so we can make sure that parents approve of the courses. And then you're going to bring that with you to school. So counselors are going to be looking that over with you, making sure it's the correct courses and making any necessary changes if you've maybe chosen one that you don't qualify for. So make sure you bring that with you. We'll go one by one, talk to the students, and they can come with questions because we're going to be with them all day.
All right, so it's my turn. I'm Cheryl Youngberg. I'm one of the counselors at Cal High. We are almost there. We're about 2/3 of the way through, so thank you so much for hanging in there. We know that it's a lot of information, so take it in and remember that this will all be posted, including the slide deck as well. So we did notice when a lot of parents were registering that there were some questions about non-district courses. These are courses that are taken that are not at Cal High. These are with outside institutions, and that is something that we introduced into our district several years ago, and some students do take advantage of that, okay? The link on here really does kind of go over in detail. It directs you to our district website where it will go over all of the guidelines and requirements, including deadlines and how and when to sign up and things like that. All right, essentially, students are allowed to take up to 40 credits and place it onto their high school transcript of outside courses. So these are outside courses that you might use directly towards your high school graduation requirement, courses that may be used towards advancement, courses that may be used towards enrichment. So we do allow 40 credits, which essentially is 4 courses, 4 years. All right, we do limit only 20 credits per academic year, and we also only limit 20 per subject area. So if you take 2 math classes outside and have them placed onto your transcript, you may not place a 3rd one on there. Okay, so it is limited in subject area and then 20 credits per academic year for a total of 40 across 4 years. Okay, so a couple of forms on here that we want to make sure that you are aware of if there is any sort of intent to take, for example, a math course over the summer with hopes to go on to the next level. We do require that students fill out the NDC intent application. The link is right here. It's also available on our website. But essentially, this lets us know what you're planning to do over the summer so that we can properly create the master schedule and reserve a spot for you into the next level. Failure to do this form means that we cannot guarantee a spot for you in that next level. So for example, if you're doing geometry over the summer, but you do not fill out the intent application form, Algebra 2 may only be available if there is space. So make sure that that intent application is completed if you are planning on taking any sort of course outside of Cal High. And then on the right-hand box there, the NDC transcript updates, that's more so for when you've completed the course. What you're going to do is you will have that transcript sent to us so that we can verify that you've completed the course. And you'll be able to click on that link or click on that and save it so that you can see and verify that your transcript has been received by our registrar. All right. With that, we get a lot of questions about this, so I kind of really want to go over a little more in depth about the pros and cons of taking an NDC and the things that you guys should really be considering if you want to take a non-district course. I feel like a lot of parents and kids are like, oh my gosh, I feel like, is everyone doing this? I'm feeling pressure to do this. Is this something we should be doing? Do we need to do this to get into college? So want to make sure that I'm answering a lot of that here. Okay, so there certainly are pros. If you're thinking about taking a non-district course, hopefully you fall into one of these areas. One, maybe you really do have some legitimate schedule conflicts and you really do need to take an outside course to accommodate that. So maybe, for example, you are involved in our leadership program, but you're also involved in our band program and you hope to be able to, take that all 4 years. That would make sense to where you might want to consider taking an outside course. Okay. Acceleration. And this is really kind of geared towards students who are really ready for advanced coursework. And sometimes and they feel prepared to challenge themselves. Really what you should be asking yourself is, for example, if you're in math right now and you're thinking about accelerating or advancing, in the math class that you're in right now, you should have a very solid A. It should be very easy for you, where you maybe not really have to study for it. That can probably tell you that maybe I am able to try this next level. Okay, but just make sure, remember, we've talked about this before, the acceleration comes with a lot of other things that you have to be prepared for, and I'll talk about that on the other part. And then, of course, exploration. Sometimes there are courses that you might be interested in that we don't offer. And that would also be a great reason to consider taking a course outside. So if you do have an interest in an area and you notice that, maybe a community college offers it or somewhere outside offers it that we don't have, that could be something to pursue. All right, so those are a lot of the reasons why you might want to consider it. But I do want to talk a little bit about the downsides of taking a non-district course that I think a lot of students need to be aware of and what we've been seeing over the past several years. One is the redundancy. Colleges may not be impressed by students taking outside courses that are already available at your high school. And we're hearing that more and more. That's becoming more and more prevalent from all of our college reps that come to visit us at Cal High. It's a question that Ms. Nichols asks all of them. And that is what they often say. They say that, they really want you to exhaust the curriculum that is offered at your high school. And sometimes when you are taking courses outside that your high school offers, that can often raise a red flag as far as why is this happening? Why are they doing this? But they have the curriculum at their own high school. Okay. A lot of our teachers, want to make sure that students are very prepared for that next level. So there are some quality concerns. I mean, not all of these external courses, these online courses are recognized or respected by the colleges. They may be accredited, they may be UCCSU approved, but, we have noticed that they may not be as rigorous as the courses that we offer at our school. And therefore, there's that concern of being prepared for the next level, especially if you're accelerating in class where a lot of it is going to be based on, what you've learned in that class to be able to move on to the next. The burnout risk, again, this is something that we're seeing is increasing more and more, and we just want to make sure that students are able to make good decisions and be able to manage what they have chosen, because adding too many courses, as you know, it could lead to stress, feeling overwhelmed. So many students are tired because they're staying up so many hours and trying to get everything crammed in, and then it just ends up being very unbalanced, and sadly we don't want them to have this negative attitude or towards their academics, and then of course we don't want it to affect them negatively with their emotional well-being. So that's a huge component to consider. College perception. Again, I mentioned this also in the redundancy. Some colleges prefer students to take rigorous courses within their high school. And they like seeing that you have done that. And I think that also it's just so important to make sure that you're ready for that next level. For example, if you're considering taking biology as an online class, are you really prepared? Because you haven't done any sort of in-person labs, are you really prepared to take on that next level if you wanted to eventually go on to AP Biology? So just remember, those foundation courses are so important, and we want students to be able to be well prepared for it. Things that you should be asking yourself in this situation is this really necessary for my child's goals? Are they really wanting to take it because they're genuinely interested? Or are they feeling this pressure by their peers or pressures by others to kind of boost their resume for their college apps? Will the course enhance their current workload, or will it overload it? Is it going to be a little too much? And will the colleges view this course as meaningful, or would they prefer to see strong performance in high school classes? That question answered to us by all the college reps who have visited us this past fall, which was close to 100, have said that they prefer to see a strong performance in high school classes. And I have been noticing in the past couple of years, I've just been taking a look at some of my seniors who graduated last year, and even those that are getting accepted into colleges this year. A couple of my students, for example, this current year, who have been accepted to some really amazing schools that are very, very competitive and actually have a less than 10% acceptance rate. Neither of them needed to take an outside class and didn't. So keep that in mind. They were involved. They enhanced their learning in so many other ways. It wasn't necessarily in the classroom. Colleges constantly tell us that they're not looking for the perfect student. They're not looking for the professional student. They are looking for a student who is well-rounded, who is involved in their school community, involved in their local community, have interests outside of the classroom, because that kind of lets them know that that's the kind of college student they're going to get, right? One that's involved, one that wants to participate in their local community and in their school community. So please keep that in mind. We're having a lot of kids, especially in the past couple of years, who are getting into some amazing colleges and have done so by simply exhausting the curriculum that we offer at Cal High. So when you are making that decision, we want it to be thoughtful, we want it to be intentional, and we want you to know that you can get everything that you need at Cal High. And I know that there's that pressure often to do everything else, but what we strongly encourage students to do is to find a way to enrich your education outside of the classroom. And this could be done by volunteering. This can be done by even at some point, maybe getting a part-time job of some sort, getting those soft skills that we know our kids so desperately need to be prepared for college and the future careers. So something to consider. All right, with all of that said, I know that there's still going to be some families out there that are going to be like, okay, but when can I do it? So here is a couple of things and deadlines that we want you to be aware of. If you are hoping to do it, just make sure, of course, that if you would like it placed on your high school transcript, that it must be completed after June 5th. You can certainly start it before then, but you must complete the course and after that date if you would like it to be placed onto your high school transcript. You may certainly still take a course in the spring. However, it will not be placed in your transcript if you finish before June 5th. Algebra 1 is a graduation requirement. So if you are taking it outside the district, this is also a course that should be completed after June 5th. If you have questions or need verification that your transcript was received, Ms. Batu is our registrar. She's wonderful. She has her own website as well, her webpage here, which we have linked so that you can stay current on the deadlines and the other requirements to complete so that those courses do get placed onto your high school transcript. All right, moving on to sports. Cal High, we have such an amazing program of sports that we offer for all of our students. Here we've kind of lined it up for fall, winter, and spring sports. If any of you are interested in it, a lot of our sports teams are going to be available tomorrow night where you can ask questions, and oftentimes they might even, have you put your email address down so that they can communicate with you, things down the line, especially for those fall sports that start pretty quick. But you could go ahead and take a look. There's so many things to be a part of and to try out for. So something to consider, a great way to be involved at Cal High if that's something you're interested in. Couple of notes that we would just want to make sure in regards to athletics. There is a requirement that a student must have a minimum of a 2.0 in order to qualify and participate. So students, especially for those that are interested in trying out for a fall sport, we will be looking at your second semester of 8th grade year. And that should meet the 2.0 minimum requirement in order for you to be able to try out for that sport in the fall. All right. All student athletes must register on the Athletic Clearance website. It's available on our CHS website under the athletic tab. And all of that for all sports being played. This is something that is done one time per year. So if you're planning on playing more than one sport, you just still need to just do it once per year. You will check all the boxes for the sports that you're hoping to participate in. And then you will also be submitting a physical with that. So a medical form that includes that you've completed your physical will be on there. And on that next tab there, remember that physicals are only count for 1 year. And so we always recommend for students the easiest way, because doctors' offices get crammed and everything, is to try and get it done in the summer. And that way you'll know that will count for the entire school year and you don't have to worry about it. So that's a great time to just kind of get it done and out of the way. So there is an academic waiver, for example, if your GPA falls below a 2.0, that you may apply for once in your 4-year career that would allow you to continue to participate if you fall below a 2.0. This is something that you apply for. This is something that needs to be approved by, our athletic director, and I think that he also includes a team of people that he works with. But we don't recommend, if you do fall below a 2.0, we don't recommend using it in your freshman year. The grades that we do check to maintain eligibility, say you've tried out for a sport, you've made it, awesome, great. We will be doing checks on your grades at the quarter, which is the halfway point of the semester, and at the semester. So at those points during the school year, we will be going by your official grades that are submitted through Infinite Campus, not necessarily what's real time, with the grade book with your teacher. Those that are reported at the quarter, those official grades at the quarter, and then those grades at the semester is what we go by to make sure that you've maintained that 2.0. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so, 9th grade, it's a huge year. It's a great year, and we know that it's a growing year. We know that lots of different changes happen in that year. So here are just a few tips that we offer for students. 1, get involved, join a club, try out for a sport like I just mentioned. We are really excited because tomorrow night we do have dozens of clubs that are going to be represented that you will be able to kind of go around and see if there's any interest that you might have in them, so that you can kind of get a head start and see like, oh, cool, I'm interested in that. Maybe I want to start and join that in the fall. Also, an easy way to get involved is just going to school events, right? Just kind of getting involved and, going to a basketball game, going to football games, going to the dances, going to a music performance. Those kinds of things are great. Check Google Classroom regularly. Hopefully you're already getting into the habit of doing that now. It's going to be even more so necessary when you get into high school, keeping track of your assignments, making sure that you're on top of your grades, making sure that you're also keeping track if you are absent. Teachers aren't necessarily going to say, hey, Bobby, you were out yesterday. Don't forget that you have to finish this. A lot of times it's going to be on the student to make sure that they're keeping track of that and staying on top of that and following up with their teachers. All right. And then, of course, if you need help, ask right away. We encourage you to develop that relationship with your teacher, to ask questions. We do have something called Learning Labs that we offer during our student support period, where students can go and get some extra help and also some individual help, sometimes from our upperclassmen tutors. That's a great program that we have. So lots of different ways to be able to get help. But what we do say is, like, don't wait until, the last few weeks of school and say, hey, I don't know, I need to bring up my grade. What can I do? If you're feeling that you're starting to struggle, talk with your teacher right away. Talk with us, your counselor, right away. We're here to help in any way that we can. All right. Of course, be on time. Very important just to have that good impression for your teachers, that that you value their time as well as your own time. So it's important that you are always on time. We have, implemented a pretty strict system here at Cal High in regards to tardies and cuts and absences and such. So, you don't want to get too many of those, because that could definitely lead to a detention. So make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time to get to school and getting to your classes on time after brunch and lunch. All right, check your email regularly. If I could instill any skill into our high schoolers, it would be to check their email all regularly, as often as they can. There is so much information that goes through email that your teachers will be sending, that we will be sending as counselors. And it is so important that you're staying on top of it. Like right now, even for our seniors who've applied to college, we need to send those reminders constantly, because, they are often being emailed by those potential colleges or those colleges that they've applied to. Maybe they might need more information and they weren't aware of it because they didn't check their emails. So get in the habit now, early, of checking your email often. All right. And then, of course, I know Ms. Beavers talked about making sure that you're utilizing the student support period, the access period, the learning labs, getting help from your teachers. Great time to start on your homework and get a head start on some upcoming tests and quizzes. Maybe it's a great time also to make up any quiz if you missed a day. So lots of different ways to use your access period. And then to our parents, lots of different things, as well, where you can help and support your child. One of the top ones that I really like is creating a school-specific email address. As you know, especially if you have more than one child, or you have, kids going to multiple schools, how inundated your inbox can get and how overwhelming it can get. And sometimes you just can't get to all of it. And I think that, it's great if you're able to create a school-specific email address where that only school email is going to that. And that way, hopefully you won't miss too many things, but lots of things kind of come out in email from lots of different places, whether you're getting it from the counselors, from your teachers, from PTSA, whoever it is. It would be good to create that school-specific email address. All right. As in the early fall, you'll be getting a lot of classroom invites from the teachers asking to accept their Google Classroom invite. Make sure that you do that so that you can follow up and support your student. Make sure also too, it would be a great opportunity to make sure that you're reviewing that Google Classroom with your student, maybe once a week. Or, as you feel is needed. Sometimes we might need more than that. Sometimes you're like, oh no, I think my kid's doing okay. Maybe we'll check it every other week. So it's your child best, but it's always good to kind of, for those first several weeks of school, especially as they're acclimating to ninth grade, that you're kind of helping them with that. Okay. And then of course, helping your student build self-efficacy skills. We really want them to have some agency and really want them to kind of build their confidence. And that sometimes will mean encouraging them to email us and encouraging them to be able to email their teachers. The more that they're getting used to that communication where they are kind of, taking agency over it, we find that the more successful they are. And, after that one time, maybe if they've emailed me, then it's just like, oh, it's no big deal. I'll just email my counselor again. And they realize, oh, that's pretty easy. I can do that. So make sure that you're helping them build those skills. And, and I always think about it as well. I have teenagers in my home where early on, you just kind of have to be like, nope, you do it. That's on you to do it. And trust that they will and help follow up with that. And then, of course, nurturing and encouraging a school life balance is super important. Like I said, we've talked about this before with NDCs and all the extracurriculars and taking hard classes and such. We live in a community where it's super competitive and kids are very, very involved, and it's a great, great community. But we also need to just make sure that our kids are taking care of themselves and having that school life balance where they're actually, enjoying high school as well. It's doing the hard work. And then, of course, make sure that you're receiving the Fairfax newsletter. That is a wealth of information where you can kind of get a lot of things in one place, and they kind of put things on a calendar so you kind of know what's going on this month, what's coming up, and all of those fun things. So that's a great thing to make sure that you're following up on. It's definitely one that I look at often. All right, almost there, friends. Okay, so with this, just some kind of, we know that you guys have super busy schedules, but if you are looking for something to kind of read and are kind of a little bit nervous about this high school experience for your child, and maybe, this is your first one in high school, I found this book to be very, very helpful. I found it to be validating, and especially in a place where, like I mentioned before, in a community where we have a lot of great, amazing, high achieving students and who really want to do well and have high aspirations. But we also need to make sure that we are, taking care of their well-being and making sure that they are taking care of themselves, and so that we are also self-aware of when they're feeling the extra pressure, the own anxiety that we feel as parents. Sometimes I know that I might pass it on to my child for sure, wondering if they're doing enough. And that's the whole idea of this book called Never Enough, is that sometimes in a community where it is so competitive and so, high achieving, that sometimes a lot of kids feel like they just aren't enough. And that's hard, especially when they're doing the best that they can. So this is a great book. I found it to be a good read. I think I've read it at least twice, maybe 3 times. But it's been very helpful, not just for me as an educator, but also as a parent. All right, I think I'm done talking, and I'm going to pass it back to Jen.
All right, so shifting gears a little bit here, just wanted to put this on your radar, that you will kind of keep your eye on email in July, because you will be contacted with an invitation to attend this wing event, which is welcoming in new Grizzlies. And it's a wonderful student run day. Our leadership class does a fabulous job where the incoming freshmen get to tour the campus, learn about the school, meet new people. And so I've always heard wonderful things about this particular day. It can really bring the anxiety about a whole new campus and navigating a new school site, can really bring that down. So again, keep your eye on your email. I believe this email will come out around July with more information about this freshman orientation.
All right, so tomorrow is our big open house. We're super excited to welcome all of our new Grizzlies on campus. Super fun night. It's going to start at 6 o'clock. So we're going to have some performing arts groups come to entertain, and then we'll have a welcome. And then from 6:30 to 7:30 is our open house where students are free to walk around. So many of our teachers are coming. We've got a lot of classrooms open. You were emailed the classroom information, so on Friday, and then you got a reminder today. You should have got a reminder regarding like what classrooms are open and just descriptions of what's going on during the night. So you can open that up and make sure you hit up all those classrooms. So teachers are, here to answer questions, and you can look around the classrooms and look at the student work on the walls and just start picturing yourself here next year. And you can even get an idea of what classes you might want to take later on as you're going through high school. So during the open house, we're going to be passing out folders, and that's what I talked about earlier. It's going to have the registration info inside. Please keep in mind that we will be passing those folders out to the students. So we really want the students to come up to the table and grab a folder themselves. We only have one folder per family. So we just want to make sure the students are getting the folders. And so those will be passed out throughout the night. So make sure you grab your student grabs one. So then all the instructions are in there for registration. We're going to have a club fair. So just make sure you stop by the Commons. So tons of our clubs are coming, and we have over 150 or so clubs here at Cal, maybe even more. So we have, about 45 or more of our clubs coming to promote their club. You can get an idea of what you might want to get involved with here at Cal. You can even put your name on an interest list, so you can start kind of planning ahead of the things you want to do when you get here next school year. So we'll have, you can take tours. We have tons of Grizzly helpers here. If you see a student in a Cal High gear, they're here to help. So you can ask them questions. They can guide you around. So there's quite a few kids coming, and then there's also going to be food trucks. So bring your appetite, and we are very excited to see you tomorrow.
All right. I know that we did have a lot of questions in the chat. I think some may have been answered via text, but just wanted to make sure some of these might need to be answered out loud. So do you want to just kind of go through them one-on-one? Is that okay?
Yeah, I've got a couple I've been writing down for you guys. So quite a few people asked about like the non-district course policy. What if a student doesn't finish the class on time? What if they do finish it and don't do well in the class? Like what will happen then?
Yeah, those are really good questions. So if they do not finish in time, and especially if it is a course that they're hoping to move on to the next level, then there is a good chance that they may not be able to move on to that next level because of the lack of space that we have. We do anticipate that our master schedule is going to be pretty packed this next school year. And so it is very important that those deadlines are met so that we can move you on. If you are not done with the course, technically we should not be moving you on to the next level. We want to see verification that you've at least completed the course, or maybe you're so close and where the only thing you need to do is take the final. We may ask for further verification of that so that we can check that to see if you can move on. If you end up taking a course and you do not do well in it, that's another thing where we really want kids to be thoughtful about it, because anything that you do take at this point, especially if you take something at the community college, needs to be reported when you apply to college. So once you take a course and you've completed that course, that becomes part of your academic record. So that's something you want to consider and be really thoughtful about. If you are considering to take a course, it should really fall under one of those 4 categories where it makes sense. You've done the research, you've kind of know what you're capable of as far as your student goes, and kind of know their limitations and such. So know that any course that you take at this point, starting in high school, is part of that academic record that you report when you apply to college.
Great. And can you talk to just a little bit again about where parents can find information about where students could be taking these non-district courses from and how they know if a course is approved?
Yeah. So on our SRV USD website, even I just sometimes, if I don't go straight to the site, I just Google SRVUSD non-district courses, and it'll take you directly to our district website where it talks about it a little more in detail. We did have at one point a list of schools that were accepted, or at least that have been most commonly used by a lot of our students. So one, you want to make sure that it's regionally accredited. So just for example, like California High School, we are accredited by the Western Association of Schools and such. So it needs to be accredited by a regional institution. And it also needs to be UC and CSU approved. Those are two major things that need to happen in order for us to be able to accept it onto our transcript. But also it's for your own good as well, especially if you're hoping to apply to college after high school. Again, there are different ways that you can find that. You can also go onto a UC website. We have those links on that for non-district courses, where it'll actually link you directly to the UC link. So you could put in there any school, whether it be like Apex Virtual. You can look at Apex Virtual. You can go down to their course list and you could see what courses that they have approved by the UC and CSU. And if they're on that UC course list, then we will accept it.
Okay, this is a little beyond the scope of our presentation, which is why we didn't really mention it, but quite a lot of people asked about AP classes where they could put questions for registration, and I don't want to just totally ignore that. But so maybe you can just kind of generally talk about what an AP class is, how a student would get into an AP class when the time comes, because we're not really there yet with ninth graders.
Sure. Erin, do you want to take this?
Sure, I'll jump in. Yeah, we don't like to, discuss AP and honors courses too much in the first year, just because we want kids to ease in, find success in that first year. And if they're, they want more of a challenge, we certainly, offer those courses moving forward. So AP courses are advanced placement courses. So basically they're college level courses that they'll take within, their high school years. And students, moving into sophomore and junior and senior year, they're going to have a lot more of those options available to them. So jumping into 10th grade, the AP options increase with the history courses, and the honors level chemistry and things like that. And as they jump to 11th and 12th, quite a few options are presented to them in terms of AP and honors courses. So we certainly talk to them year to year, talk to your student about, keeping a balanced course load and just making sure, they're choosing courses that fit, their abilities and not just taking on too much. So we don't talk too much about, the AP courses, but we do offer, a lot of AP courses here at Cal. And if students, as they get into high school, they can look ahead, in regards to what's being offered in each, grade level in each category.
Great. And then I have quite a few people asking about the folders for tomorrow. So if a student can't make it, can their parent pick up the folder? Can they pick up a folder for a friend who can't make it? Where could they get the folder if they can't come tomorrow night?
Right. So yeah, if you can't come, we understand students might have athletics or something going on, and we certainly will give it to a parent, in that case, if the student isn't available to get the folder. We will be bringing extra folders to the middle schools the next day. So you can pop into your middle school office and grab a folder, or actually, the papers inside, they're going to have access to those. So yeah, if you can't make it, come up to the table. You can grab a folder for your student or for a friend if they can't make it.
I think were we also going to provide a QR code for parents that might be able to just kind of click on it and be able to at least see what the documents that are in there are?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're using QR code on the table. So, you can scan that, and every document that the course registration sheet, the online instructions, all the documents will be accessible on your phone.
Yes. Essentially, we have more than enough folders for each family to have one. And so we always just worry because sometimes, mom comes and gets one. Oh, dad got one. They didn't realize they did. Oh, the student also came and got one. So we just want to make sure that we have enough for everyone. We do have plenty of them, as long as only one per family takes one. So just keep that in mind. It definitely should be available for you.
I also just some questions about how do you know all the classes offered at Cal High over the 4 years. We do have a published course catalog on our website. And in a lot of the answers I've been referencing our website, you can easily Google Cal High Counseling. It comes right up. So we've got pretty much all the resources that we offer there posted as much as possible, like the recording of this presentation and the slides and everything. So it's the first result when you Google it. Course catalog is linked. Non-district course page is linked. Pretty much all the resources we've been talking about tonight are linked on our page.
Yes. And I do just kind of want to put out there, you know, especially in talking about the 9th grade year, we know it is such a huge, huge transition, and we intentionally don't talk about a lot of that stuff that's down the road. One, because, you know, we will be working with your student and we will be helping them year to year and making sure that they are on track for whatever goals that they do have. Two, we have the resources out there, and we just don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of that stuff right now. Of course, it's out there for you to seek out, and it's available to you if you wanted to do a 4-year plan and things like that. You know, but for tonight, it was very intentional that we want to make sure that this transition to 9th grade is a positive one and, you know, a good one for your student.
Great, that pretty much sums it up. And I will just say, if you had a question that was asked that didn't get specifically answered, it's just because there's quite a few that were very specific to individual student issues. So those questions should certainly be brought with your student to the days that we come to the middle schools. If you are not one of our Iron Horse or Pine Valley students, these questions can also be asked to the counselors at your current middle school as well. And then if you're coming from outside the district, there will be times set up for you. You'll be working with our registrar, Ms. Batu, to set up times where you can have time with us as well. So there will be more than enough time and opportunities for all questions to be answered that are more individual.
Great. Awesome. Any other last things to mention before we log off? All right. Well, we will be there tomorrow night, and we are excited to see all of you. Come by and say hi to us. We would love to meet you guys. And then, of course, like we said, we're available to answer questions tomorrow. Any questions after tomorrow, we will be there on Monday and Tuesday the following week. And of course, please utilize your school counselors at your middle school as well, because we collaborate and talk with them all the time. And if they don't know the answer to a question, they will reach out directly to us and make sure to get that answer to you. So, you know, we really encourage you to reach out to your 8th grade counselor as well if you have questions. Okay, I think we're good. All right, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does it stop? Does it stop
Um,
recording automatically? Do we have to leave for it to stop recording?
I don't have an end meeting button. Do you guys have an end meeting button?
I just have
Yeah.
a leave. Oh, I do
Me
have an
too.
end meeting.